Hello, welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. In this video, we will be doing a first look at the game Warfighter, the Vietnam War Special Forces card game. This is from Dan Verssen Games. It is part of their long and ongoing Warfighter series that covers a lot of different, maybe I shouldn't say a lot of different topics, but there are several different topics, and it continues to grow, and it's a very interesting system. It is a solitaire game, and it is going to be one of our Solitaire Sunday entries. So we will be taking a first look at it. There's currently a poll in the posts section of the channel where you can vote for either this or JU87 Stuka Ace as the next game, which would debut next week. So it's either going to be this one or Stuka Ace, which was had a first look video earlier this week. So let's take a quick look at the back. And as you can see, it says, watch that tree line for ambushes. It is a card-driven game. That is kind of a hallmark of Dan Verssen Games. Whether it's this or the Leader series, there are a lot of cards involved, right? So you can see an assortment of the various cards on here. But we'll read the quick description here. It says, a warfighter places you and up to 5 of your friends in Vietnam-era combat missions. You'll begin each mission by selecting your squad of soldiers and equipping them with the Americans' best weapons, equipment, and skills available. During the mission, you will engage the VC and NVA as you advance through locations on the way to your objective. Warfighter can be played with 1 to 6 players. So I did say it was a solitaire game, but you can add other players to the game if you wish, so you can play it multiplayer. I will be playing it solitaire. Each player takes on the role of one or more soldiers running a tactical mission. The game system controls the hostile forces. Warfighter does not require any special rules for solitaire play. And then, of course, as it mentions here, look for Warfighter expansions to expand your missions. There are a bunch of expansions for every Warfighter entry. This one is no exception. However, I currently only have the base game. So this is a Dan Verssen game design developed by Kevin Verssen. It is tactical, individual soldiers, 1 to 6 players. Time to play 30 to 90 minutes and moderate complexity, ages 14 and up. Inside we're going to find 280 cards, 5 sheets of counters, 5 dice, and a 17 by 33 inch mounted tactical display, plus a full color rules booklet, I should say. That was not correct. Okay, so here's a new recruit manual. This is quite thick here. Pretty hefty. So let's take a look at this. You can hear that it's somewhat beefy when you throw it down on the table here. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay. So here's our table of contents. Kind of goes through what's in here, your contents of the box, your game setup, playing missions, and then you've got expansion content and campaign rules and so on. Welcome to Warfighter, Charlie Don't Surf. Of course, that is from Apocalypse Now. An excellent movie. So this is just a note here. Game design by Kevin Verssen, game development by Ben Smith and Holly Verssen. Research, photos, rule books, etc., etc. Okay, contents of the box, the new recruit manual, which we're reading, keywords guide, 280 cards of various types, 5 punch-out counter displays for a mounted tactical display board, 4 10-sided and 1 6-sided dice. Okay, cards, this is a card-driven game. They determine the entirety of your team and the capabilities and the mission and objective you are sent to accomplish. Okay, so here we have soldier cards, and there are various types. You have a player soldier, it's kind of the main event, the star, if you will. Team soldiers, non-player soldiers, and squad soldiers. What all that means is explained, I'm sure, in here. Soldier cards represent the soldiers you're sending on dangerous missions. Player cards are flexible and customizable. You choose their weapons, equipment, skills, and service records. This makes the player soldiers the most expensive kind of soldier. They're also the only soldier type that can draw action cards. which you use to find locations. Action cards can be thought of as battle tactics, which can be used to improve the situation of the game or turn things around if the situation goes south. Team soldiers are identical to player soldiers in flexibility, but they do not draw action cards. They do have no action cards text on there. That makes them cheaper than player soldiers. Then the non-player soldiers are soldiers that come with their own set of weapons, equipment, and skills, which can't be changed. As a result, they are cheaper to bring onto your team and are usually good at fulfilling a singular role, but are less flexible as a result. And squad soldiers are akin to the background soldier in a war movie, usually very cheap and somewhat weak, but they are very simple to run in comparison to other soldier types and have all of their relevant stats on the card. If you want a simpler game or have just a few resources left and need some extra firepower, they are good to bring along. I suggest 2-player soldiers in your team for their flexibility on action cards, but half the fun of Warfighter is experimentation. Try everything from one super strong player soldier to a sprawling set of 8 soldiers. Okay. Then you have other things that go with this. We have our weapons, equipment, skills, and service records. So these 4 sets of cards are what your soldiers can be given to take on the missions. Right choice of cards for the mission can make the difference between success and failure. So weapons, obviously, that's fairly self-explanatory. Equipment, in this instance, we have an example of the M69 flak vest. So it can be body armor to weapon attachments to bandages and cigarettes, etc. Skills that can either be passive, that improve your soldiers' inherent capabilities, or active abilities that can be triggered at certain points. So you can see here, let's move. If body count is greater than 2, or 2 plus, add 1 to your movement. And the service records are thematic representations of specific battles from the Vietnam War that can be given to soldiers. They give multiple limited use abilities to the soldier that owns them, or negative abilities that trigger at certain times. So as you might have guessed from something called service record, it's kind of like their history that they can build, that they can be affected by, both good and bad. Then you've got vehicle cards. You're not entirely on foot in the jungle. Warfighter Vietnam includes multiple controllable vehicles you can send alongside your team, from jeeps and gunboats to helicopters, each of which have their own attack capabilities and restrictions. Then we have mission and objective cards. Mission cards define the game, how many resources you have to spend on your soldiers, the time you have to complete your objective, how far away the objective is, how loaded up your soldiers can be, and how many VC need to be eliminated along the way. Meanwhile, the objective cards determine what needs to be done: holding the fort, clearing out the VC, destroying a bridge, or finding a command post, etc. Once the objective is completed, the game immediately ends in success. So a game of Warfighter plays out very differently with certain combinations of mission and objective cards. And it gives you a couple of examples. Run Through the Jungle plays relatively quickly when paired with Break On Through. On the other hand, War Pigs will be a very long game with the California Dreamin' objective. I love how they're named after 60s songs. That's awesome. Then we've got Hostiles and Events. So you have, this is of course the opposing forces. You've got unengaged hostile, an engaged hostile, an engaged ally. That's the ARVN there, the Army of the Republic of Vietnam. And event cards, critters. That's one big insect-looking thing right there. So hostiles are the VC and the NVA that actively seek out your team of soldiers and attack them to prevent you from completing the objective. They start unengaged, in which they are hiding in the shadow of the jungle. They're harder to attack, and their attacks are more likely to hit. On the other hand, engaged hostiles are in the open. They're less likely to hit on an attack, but their attacks can be much more dangerous. Hostiles can unengage themselves under certain conditions, hiding back in the jungle, or fade, leaving the game entirely. So that kind of mimics the way the enemy fought in Vietnam, right? It was very much kind of an unconventional war where they would hit and run attack and then disappear back into the jungle. Event cards are also drawn from the hostile deck, which can shake up the state of the game. Everyone freaks out when they're bitten by a creepy crawly. Despite the event cards having different card backs compared to hostiles, they're shuffled in with the hostiles to make the hostile deck. Engaging hostiles is dangerous as they'll hit harder, but you can hit them back easier. And with those potential allies around, it isn't a zero-sum game. Engage at your own discretion. All right, then you have location cards. They're drawn over the course of the game by player soldiers and played between the mission and the objective for your team to move through. So you move through, there's no map, so you're going to move through various locations as you go towards your objective during your mission, basically. I won't read the whole thing. I don't want this to be super long, and we do have a lot of pages to go through here, as well as looking at the other contents of the box here. Action cards, as you might guess from what we talked about when we were talking about the player soldiers, these are the cards they can use, and only they can use, that contain a series of resources and tactics, as well as location markers. So you discard this to draw one location card, this particular one. Pay 1 body count or 3 XP to instead draw 2 location cards. So you use body count as kind of a currency in this game. And we have our counters, and we'll see all of these in a moment. So I won't really go through all of these, but you've got ID counters for soldiers and vehicles. You've got turn counter to track the amount of turns a vehicle has been called in. You've got various ammo counters, hostile counters, etc. Enemy killed in action and suppression counters. Body count, hardy counters are used by soldiers to resist the dangers of the environment. Hostile targeting counters. Inactive counters keeps track of the objective and whether it's been reached and activated yet. Your timer counter, striking count, all kinds of, you can see there's all kinds of stuff. Here's experience, your service record, expendable counters, and situational counters. And over here we have our tactical display. So this is what the board looks like, and we'll see that as well in a moment. You can see there are spots for some of the cards. There are some charts and things, informational things on here as well as a pretty cool graphic there in the middle. Then we have game setup, walks you through how to prepare for your mission. So you'll select a region, which will determine the mission objective and hostile decks you'll be using. In the core game, you'll only have the Vietnam region. Expansions can add more. You cannot mix together cards from different regions. Then you'll take the location and hostile deck and shuffle them face down, unengaged side up for the hostiles, and place them on their respective tactical display places. All right, then you've got mission types. You've got a holding action, escort, rescue. And then objective types, you've got eliminate hostiles, keep clear, destroy something, and find something. Setting up your team, then it talks about how you'll select your soldiers and their equipment, I think. So you can see their names on here. This is and they all have a picture. This is kind of a trademark. The Warfighter I've played is World War II. So it's very similar in look and feel, but obviously this is a different conflict with different rules, because Vietnam was, of course, much different than World War II was. Over here, you've got your weapons. So now you see your weapons along with their statistics, such as their range. This is the range in terms of attacking, right? So you got range, reload, kill. These are what your die rolls will be. And then your mode, semi, you'll get 1 roll. Auto, you get 3 rolls. Ammunition, you've got grenades over here. So again, all of these will have different statistics and uses, and then you get an example here as well. And we'll go through all this when we play. And then you've got equipment and skills. So kind of a more detailed explanation of what these entail. Your service record, your vehicles, how you call them in, what vehicles do when they attack, more examples, completing your setup. Then you've got playing the mission, and you go through the steps of the mission. Game concepts, die rolls, your keywords. Keywords are very important in this game system, and we'll see those here in a second. Body count, range, hostile behavior, and how they can fade. Empty decks, soldier turn, play in action. Here's move, which is an action. And then attack action, reload, clear a jam, play a location card, activate the objective, pay retain costs. If you pay the retain cost, you may keep the effects of those cards into the next soldier turn. Okay. Mid-mission healing, and an example. Move into striking, hostile turn, and then their attack. Let's see here, this is a hostile card representing a North Vietnamese army. North Vietnam Army, rather, squad. Then soldier down and all this stuff. Then we got the expansion stuff, which, again, I do not have. If you don't have any Warfighter Vietnam expansion, stop here and play a game. So this is just things looking at various expansion things. And we got campaign rules, campaign setup, shuffle and go, campaign turn, playing a campaign mission, drawing hostiles, and then mission result at the back. So that is our new recruit manual. So we'll push that to the side for now. And we've got our keyword sheet. So as you can see, this is a comprehensive list of the keywords used in the Warfighter series. And I won't go through all of these, but you'll look things up. You'll see things, and you see like one-handed, two-handed, active, acted, activity, add X plus Y, or whatever it may be, adjacent. All of these are keywords. You can see there's a decent amount of stuff in here. This thing goes several pages. Pages aren't numbered, but it's a decent amount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pages of keywords. Now this is Warfighter cards keywords. They are used in the series. So not all of these will be applicable to Vietnam. You won't see some of what, a lot of what's in here you won't see in Vietnam. Now here's the board. So let's put this aside for the moment. Then we've got our counters. There are 5 counter sheets. This is counter sheet 1. Okay. And these are mostly markers because, like I said, I guess they're exclusively markers. There are no, there is no map, right? So these will be used to keep track of things and so on. So we've got 1, 2, and we already kind of saw what these are in the manual, right? They are easily punched out. They're pre-rounded. The components in Dan Verssen Games tend to be pretty good. No complaints from me in any of the games of theirs I've played, and I've played many. So I am a fan of the Leader series in particular. And I haven't played as much Warfighter as I would like, but that may change. We'll see. All right, and the last one here. So give you a quick overview. Like I said, these are essentially markers, all two-sided. Okay, now before we look at the cards, we'll take a look at the map. Okay, so this is not the whole thing. It is very wide, and rather than totally reset my camera, I just kind of elected to, well, it's still a little bent from, well, maybe not bent, but it's not laying flat. It's not bent, it's just that it wants to fold, right? So over here, you've got your location deck, you've got your hostile deck, you've got your body count, action deck, and mission card. So these are your card locations. Then we've got a nice little setup here. So a little checklist kind of the setup. Here's your mission timer. Then if we slide over here, so you can see this side of the board. I'm sorry for the glare from the light there, but we have the action chart, or attack chart rather, defeat, cover, roll, and then your attack rolls. And then you've got your attack sequence, soldier attacks and hostile attacks. And down here you have your turn sequence. So a lot of helpful information on the board. And then this central area is where the gameplay actually takes place. So when I say there's no map, this is where you're going to essentially have your map. You'll have your player cards out with their, so you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns here for your player cards, and you'll have them out on here, and there'll be your locations and all the various things that you'll need to play, and we'll see that when we do the gameplay. So that is the map. I'm going to fold it back up. And now let's take a look at the cards. Let's spin it over so they're actually right side up. So you can see we've got multiple decks here. Now they kind of mix together to some extent. Like these are action cards, okay? So, and then, but this starts with action cards, but on the back, I don't think that's an action. Maybe that is an action card. Then we've got these guys right here, and we have 2 more decks here. So there were 5 decks. There were 280 cards. Here's your equipment card. That's obviously a player or a, this is a non-player soldier, I think. Then we've got our objective cards, and that's equipment there on the back. So those are the cards, at least an initial look. And then here are our dice. And you can see we got a little rifle on this one for the 6. So this is the 6-sided, and then we have the 10-sided, which also has a rifle right there. The 10 spot. So those are your dice. Now, if we open this guy up to take a quick peek. Okay, so here are the action cards. You can see maintain contact and your description there at the bottom. So there are a bunch of these. Well, that's only part of the action card deck. Then we've got event cards here. You flip that over and you can see hidden motives. Right? It's an event. It says roll at the start of next turn. And then based on your roll, if it's 4 or less, you add 3 to the location's entrance cost for the rest of the turn. 5 or 6, no effect. 7 or more, gain 2 experience points and 2 replacement points, I think, of gear. Or 2 resource points, sorry. That I should know. All right, and then we've got these guys right here. This is the enemy, the hostile card, right? This is the unrevealed side when they're kind of hiding in the bush. And then on the other side, you have their activated, unnamed, unarmed ally. So that's an Arvin, and he's an unarmed ally. Now we have more Arvins in here. Okay, so here we have a Grenadier. Okay, so this is an enemy. And you can see the back of the card is all the same. Although they do have identifiers, 3, 2, etc. on the back. Got rice farmers on here, the civilians. There's some of these in here. Okay, then we've got location cards. Right? And there's hilltop housing. Free to play, hostiles and soldiers gain +2 cover against attacks from outside this location. So this, as you can see, it's a location card, right? You saw that on the back. And then you've got reticles on here, and we'll get into all of this, obviously, when we play. But we've got location cards. There's a decent amount of them here. And then at the very back of this particular pack, we have objective cards. And this is House of the Rising Sun, which is an excellent song by the Animals. And you've got reinforcements 1 to 4. You can see holding, action, mission, fallback position, +1 location card, close quarters combat, critical sight, nature. Those are keywords. So you can say critical sight, and then if I go to my keyword guide, and we go to this page, I believe, critical sight, right there. Hostiles in a location with a critical sight cannot leave unless they are unable to attack any soldier in their range. Ignore movement and fade sentences on hostile cards and active critical sight locations. So see, this is a fairly decent explanation. I won't read the whole thing because it's fairly lengthy. But let me open up this deck so we can see some equipment cards. Okay, so here's an equipment card. Got weapons cards in here as well. So on our equipment card here, we've got a Lucky M1 helmet. Okay, so you can expend after you suffer an attack to suffer no effect. Basically, this would come in handy if you had this as your equipment. You get shot, and you can expend it to prevent to suffer no effect. So you would avoid some negative impact there. And we got jungle survival gear on this one. And we've got some weapon cards. There's a decent amount of these in here. We also have aircraft card. We'll check that out too. Fighting knife, Okay, so there you go. 1939 on. So this goes back to, well, it's a knife. I mean, it's not exactly high-tech stuff here. It's a Model 70 rifle, M37 shotgun, the M67 grenade, M79 grenade launcher, the M18A1 Claymore, M14, M60, Mac 10, and there's the M16. I was looking for that. All right, and we've got here a vehicle card. This is the M43 ambulance, Mercy. Okay, here we have an aircraft card. This is a Thunder Huey gunship. More vehicle cards. You've got an M163 VADS, the M132 armored flamethrower Scorch. Got an M42 Duster light tank. And here's a gunboat. There's another Huey gunship. Okay, so it's vehicles and so on. Here's service record. Right, you can see Battle of Hill 488, which was in 1966. Another one, Operation Harvest Moon, Operation Green River. So you've got a bunch of these as well. Right. Then we have Squad Soldiers. So these are the soldier cards. So here's a Squad Soldier, B.L. Willard. Got a photo. You got his information on there. His cost is on here as well. And you've got Hicks, who was in the book. And I wonder if he's named after Hicks from Aliens. Then you got G.S. Harmon. Here you can see we've got a Squad Soldier, and it's got also the Arvins on here. So this one's an Arvin. And then this one is also an Arvin, so you can buy some Arvins to work with. Then you've got NPS soldiers, so non-player Squad Soldier, right? And he comes equipped with an M16, C. Taylor. And you got Mason Elliott. He's got the M60. And then we've got an Arvin NPS, who comes equipped with an M16 as well. And we have Team Soldiers here. So Team Soldier, no action card. So this, we're going up the ladder basically in terms of cost and abilities, I guess you might say. There's a couple of those, and then there's a Player Soldier. And here's the Player Soldier. You got Aponte. Yeah, these are definitely using alien names, aliens, which I think is kind of neat. You can tell Vasquez, yeah, right. And then that's an Arvin, another Arvin, Niederlander, and another Arvin there. Okay, so I think that is most of the types of card. So you got to see a little bit of everything. So that, as they say, is going to be the end of this. This is the end, my only friend, the end of this video at least. So if you'd like to see this be the next game to hit the solo Sunday circuit, please vote. The poll is on the channel's homepage on the posts tab. I did a little short for it to kind of intro it, so you can just find that post and just post a reply in there with your preference for this or JU87 Stuka Ace. If you have any comments or questions, you know where to put them in the comment section. And I will do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. But that will do it for now. Thanks for watching. I'm Joe. This is Hexed Encountered. And until next time, as always, happy gaming.